Come down. Oh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. Never have to cut you out like right now. You see, I don't have to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. Me try to marijuana. I was never you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they finished change. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and the color on your lip.
Welcome to the Seahawks Man to Man podcast, powered by Blue Wire. Shout out to the new company. My name is Michael Sean Dugar. You guys can follow me on whatever Elon Musk is calling that app these days. My @ name has not changed. It's also, boom, right there under my finger for those watching us on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, Seahawks Man to Man is the name of the channel. That's Seahawks Man, the number 2 man. That's the same thing on our Instagram, same thing on our TikTok as well. Do us a favor, please. Go to those platforms and like, comment, rate, review, subscribe, repost, reshare, all those good buttons. Press them for us. It means a lot. Even if you're right now driving to work, listening to us, that's cool. Pull over, hit the buttons, and go get to work on time. We really appreciate the love and support. Thank you so much. Chris, go ahead and talk to him.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Christopher Kidd. You can follow me on Blue Sky and Twitter at CKIDD206, and that's CKid206. Also, if I'm not mistaken, my math serves me right. I think we're about 90 away from 5K subscribers on YouTube for Seahawks Man to Man. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. We appreciate all the love and support as well on TikTok. I just dropped a clip of Mike talking about Samuel Darnold. Is his name Samuel or Sam? That's a great question.
Yeah, I was wondering that the other day. Yeah, I'll look it up. Keep going.
But anywho, make sure you tap in on our TikTok as well. I mentioned Instagram. I didn't mention Instagram. Follow our Instagram as well, Seahawks Man to Man. I think that's all the good and fun stuff. But you know why we're here. It's time for one big thing. And then afterwards, we will catch up with Mr. Person. He covers the Carolina Panthers via The Athletic. First name Joe. But Joe Person will join us on the back half of this. Mike, what do you have regarding Sam Darnold?
Yeah, so according to Wikipedia, his name is Samuel Richard Darnold. Name is Sam, but goes by, or his name is Samuel, but goes by Sam.
Thank God his
Dick
name
Darnold.
isn't Richard. He'd be Dicko. I don't know, another Dicko.
It'd be Dick Darnold. That's a crazy name.
Well,
or he could go by Richie D or something like that. That'd be fire.
I was thinking of Mike McDonald and how he calls Michael Dixon Dicko. So I'm like, would he call? I mean, you can't call him Sicko, right? I guess you could. Got Sicko over here.
Well, do they have anybody named Richard on their team?
No, they do not.
No? Okay. So we haven't tested to see whether he would go by that nickname. So there you go. I was wondering about that because I was watching football. We'll get to one big thing, guys. I'm sorry, but quick tangent. I was watching football over the weekend, and somebody's name was super ghetto. I forget whose it was. But I was like, man, if I had that name, I would definitely just abbreviate my name. Be like AJ Barner, TJ Hawkinson, whatever, all those, CJ Gardner Johnson, stuff like that. Like I forget who it was, but I was like, I would definitely abbreviate mine. And it got me thinking of what like some of the guys who have their abbreviated thing, or not abbreviated, use their initials, what their real name was. Like, I don't know AJ Barner's real name. I looked it up, but I forgot what it was. I'll look it up.
Aaron James.
Yeah. Is it? Is that what it is?
I'm guessing it's couldn't be that crazy, right?
Albert Barner.
That's an old ass name for a young man. I'm sorry, AJ. I get why you said
he's probably a
second
junior. His dad, his dad's name is probably Albert. I guess. Let's do that real quick. AJ Barner. Hopefully, he has a wiki page. Albert AJ Barner. Personal life. Yeah, I'd have to dig. I'll dig a little bit more on that, and so we can find that. Maybe it's on like his recruiting profile or something like that. But yeah, if my name was Albert, definitely going by.
Hey,
he's going by Al, like Al Woods, you know. But yeah, I'm not. You can go by AB.
Hey, you know what? Next time you talk to him, like, what's good, Albert?
Nah, I've learned about doing that. I'm not. You know who was like that is whatever DJ Trey Brown's real name is.
It wasn't.
He didn't because his name ain't Trey. Trey Brown
I
is real.
remember you telling me that.
Yeah, he's a third. I forget what his real name is. I'll look that up too. I got a lot of stuff to look up. Here, okay, here, let's do this. Chris is gonna start off with his one big thing. We watched the tape of the Seahawks last win over the Rams. I mean, we both did, but you guys know the drill. Seahawks win. Chris kicks it off. So while he does that, I'm gonna look up a bunch of people's first names because that's what we do here. Chris, what do you have for the people? What's your one big thing this week?
One big thing this week, I think it's probably no surprise to our listeners, our viewers, our supporters of Seahawks Man to Man. I am going to roll with Samuel Darnold because, for one, Sam, I think for his mental state, he needed a game like this because he didn't play perfect. As Mike alluded to on our post-game show, he didn't have a perfect game, but he played good enough. And I mentioned that he played great. I think he had a great moment. Let me rephrase that and add some context. I thought he played a great game after watching the game. Right then and there, I was like, he played a great game. Despite the 2 turnovers, he played phenomenal. Blah, 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 blah. Then I thought about it. I said, you know what? Great game's a little crazy. He had a great moment. And that great moment was in overtime after the Rams had basically just marched on the field and Puka Nacua and Matthew Stafford were just having fun out there. They were playing 7-on-7 because Puka was open. He ended up with, I think, 225 and 11 catches and 2 touchdowns. He just had a crazy day against the Seahawks defense. But it doesn't really matter because the Seahawks won. And the reason the Seahawks won, it stems back to Sam Darnold and what he did in overtime because he stepped up. Again, the new rules in overtime allow both teams to get an opportunity to go and score, both offenses at least, unless the defense gets a pick six, the special teams get a kick return. If that happens, ball game. But in this scenario, the Rams march down and score. I guess not march. It was only a couple plays, but the point is they go and score. Now everyone's on pins and needles because guess what the Seahawks have to do? If they want to continue this game, they have to score. And not to mention, if you want to just end the game, you're going to go for 2 and walk off the field. Number 1 seed in the NFC. Super Bowl is coming through Seattle. And that's what they're able to do. But going back and watching the tape and watching what Sam was able to do, he just had some confidence and some swagger to him, despite being down a touchdown. Because if you think about it, he could have easily went out there and choked and lost the game. That could have happened, but that didn't. Sam was composed, not to mention he had 2 turnovers. He had 2 rough turnovers. The first one, the Rams show covered. They show man-to-man. They show man-to-man, and Sam's like, oh, this is easily man-to-man. It's 3rd and 8. Obvious passing down. The Seahawks run 2 slants. They have a slant with, I want to say it was on the outside, Cooper Kupp maybe, I think it was Cooper Kupp on the outside. I lied. Cooper Kupp comes in motion as Rashid Shaheed, who was on the outside, and they both run slants. Well, number 30, who happens to be the corner, Josh Wallace, well, he's playing zone, so he just falls off Cooper Kupp, replaces that area, falls into that zone where the slant is coming from for Rashid Shaheed, and he jumps it, and he takes it back, and the Seahawks, K9 specifically, was able to get him at the 1-yard line. That's just a terrible ball by Sam, but a great defensive call by Chris Shula and great defense from Josh Wallace. The second interception, another bad throw. He just has to be aware of that scenario, that type of pressure, and he wasn't. The Rams lineup, they got everybody at the line of scrimmage as if they are bringing heat. They're sending 6 guys. That's what it appears to be. Instead, they only send 4. But the protection gets all mixed up. Sam Darnold still gets pushed. He gets hit by, I want to say it was Jared Verse, and he throws it right to a fat man, number 91, Kobe Turner. So 2 interceptions, the confidence has to be shaken. No. Sam makes some big throws. He finds A.J. Bonner for a touchdown. He just keeps chipping away. And as we mentioned on the post-game show, Rashid Shaheed was a big factor in that as well. But the overtime thing is what really had me believing that, you know what, I think Sam has got over the hump because he's faced adversity in that game. They were down 16, down 2 possessions, got to have it drives, and he delivered. And the biggest one is that overtime one. And it starts with his pass to JSN moving out of the pocket. and it's out of a play action, something that I believe the Seahawks got to get him more into. Clint Kubiak should be pressing that button for play action as much as he can, because Sam is so good at rolling to his right or left out of play action and getting the ball downfield. And I think if they do that consistently, this offense can become even more lethal. That's not to say that Sam cannot drop back and pass, because he can. But I think his strength, where he's really good, is out of the play action. That, as I mentioned, that first play out of the overtime, down 30-37, he's going to play action pass it. He fakes the handoff to Zach Charbonnet, gets a little pressure from the inside, rolls out to his right, and delivers a dart. JSN keeps his toes in and is able to make a great catch. Check number one. All right, Sam, it's a great start. It's looking promising. The next play, not the next play, the next completion, I would say, is to Cooper Kupp. And me and Mike were talking about this off wax, how, for one, this is a tough throw to make when you know you're going to take a hit. It's almost to the point where, as I use the basketball analogy with Mike, when you're playing basketball, you're undersized guard. Mike, for instance, used Allen Iverson in this scenario. You're going to the basket, Shaq's in the paint. You know you're going to get hit, but you got to get this ball in the cup. And for Sam to know that he's going to take this hit and deliver a strike on a corner route to Cooper Kupp, just a phenomenal throw. Back to the point about Allen Iverson going to the bucket and Shaq clobbering him and finishing strong. That's what Sam had to do on that play. He knew he was going to take some punishment. That didn't stop him. He dropped back and was able to deliver a strike on a corner route. Albeit, I thought number 14, Kobe Durant, could have made the play, but it doesn't matter. Sam knew his landmark. He attacked it, and he was able to deliver a beautiful ball. And it was actually a stunt where they had, I want to say it was, Kobe Turner. He breaks to the outside, giving Jared Verse an inside option to come over the middle, and that's what they did. And they were able to get pressure on him, and he took a shot right in the chin, but he delivered a beautiful ball to Cooper Kupp, who was open on that corner route, tough in that little window between that pocket where you have a corner underneath with the safety over the top. That's not an easy throw. That's a layered ball. That's really tough to make, and especially knowing that you're going to get hit in the chops. Like, that's not easy to make, and he made it look very simple. Great throw, great catch by Cooper Kupp, and that's just one big thing. You know, that's something that when Sam goes back and watches this tape, he's probably like, yeah, you know what, I can do a lot of these things under pressure, considering the Seahawks were down 7, right? They have to go and score to make this either go to another overtime, sudden death, whatever the case may be. Obviously, everyone knows they end up going for 2, which was the right call. I don't think anyone would disagree with that, because you don't want to give the ball back to Matthew Stafford, because he had been carving up the Seahawks all game for the most part. So he makes that throw, an incredible throw on a corner route. Again, in between the corner and safety in that cover 2 area, tight window, delivers a beautiful ball. And his biggest throw maybe is the one that puts them in position to either tie it up or go for the gusto. And they end up going for the gusto. And that play that I'm talking about is from the 1st and 4, where he hits JSN over the middle, and it's play action. So to start the drive, they hit him with play action. JSN, he gets open on his route. Sam does have to create a little bit and get outside, but he finds his number 1 target, JSN. And then to score a touchdown, what do they go back to? They go back to play action. So you're seeing play action playing a vital role in Sam's success. And again, it's not saying that he can't perform without it. He's just a much better ball player when he does get that play action pass, because guys got to move up. And all it takes is a quick hesitation from a DB to think, oh, it's a run. Oh, a linebacker steps up and that hole is open in the middle of the field. Because when he does that play action, the linebackers step up. The middle of the field is open. And of course, JSN does about a 7-yard dig route over the middle. And yet again, I'm going to say his real name, Samuel Darnold, delivers a beautiful dot over the middle where only JSN can catch it. Give credit to the defensive back. He tries to get his hand in there, but JSN does the right thing, gets his body in front of the DB and snatches it, catches it with his body, and is able to make the touchdown. And then you guys all know what happened on that 2-point conversion. Sam is patient. He doesn't panic. He goes through all of his reads, and he gets to his final read, was coming off a chip block, tight end Eric Saubert. and he finds him in the end zone, and you guys know how that goes. That's game over. Seahawks have the number 1 seed at the moment. So with that being said, you can go through the whole entire game and look at some of his other big throws, but when the Seahawks needed the win, Sam delivered. Sam was able to come up big when they needed him to, and he did it. Going through 4 reads, that's not easy. But give credit to the offensive line. They did their job, protected well, and then Sam didn't panic. He went to his first read, not there. Second read, don't like it. Third read, he just came off a chip. Number 81, easy. And to be honest, that play was very close to being deflected. I think it was Kitchens again who was in the area, but the ball whizzed right by him. So one big thing for me is Sam Darnold, because I think he is now taking the next step to get that monkey off of his back. He went up against a foe that has had his number. Okay, this team, they got after Sam, they pressure him, and he makes mistakes. He made those mistakes in the game and still prevailed. So that's a great sign for Sam, because if he can do that against the Rams, I think he could probably do that against any NFL team, including the Texans. It'll be much more of a challenge with the Texans because they have a disgusting defensive front. But with play action passing, which is his strength, I think if they are able to, they don't have to run the ball effectively because they haven't been able to do that all season. And guys are still getting open on play action pass. So with that being said, I think Clint Kubiak against the Panthers, let's see a lot of play action passing, a lot of attempts on the ground. And sure, occasionally have him drop back and just deliver a strike because he can do that too. But I believe his strength is play action passing and doing that. And when I went back and watched the tape and watching him in that overtime drive, he had success in play action, game winners on play action. So I'm looking forward to Sam moving forward because I think he has definitely taken the next step. And maybe this team, just maybe, can go to the Super Bowl. So go ahead, maybe book your tickets. Maybe go ahead, because right now, the way Sam played in that game, I can't see him regressing much. I think there's just too much on the table for him. I think he can only improve in that regard.
You should name the corner on the Jackson touchdown. Who was that?
Oh,
it was your boy, number 14 again.
Yeah, Kobe Durant. That's
Kobe
he tried.
Durant. Yeah,
He
well,
tried.
I'm bringing him up because that goes into this perfect segue. Oh, sorry, I was looking up names. Trey Brown's real name is Reginald. Would definitely go by Trey. Just for fun, I was looking at some other names I'd be curious about. I was like, why do they call him Ty? I was like, what's Tyler's name? It's just Tyler. No, nothing crazy about that. It also reminds me, I need to ask Jalen Sundell why he's named Jalen. He's the only white guy I know named Jalen. And so I gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. I feel like I've been telling myself to go do that. I just keep forgetting because I also don't know Sundell that well, so I don't know how he'll like.
His parents were big fans of Jalen Rose. I'm guessing there.
Maybe. We'll see. I have to ask him and figure it out. No one's name also jumped out to that. But just segues where I brought up the Kobe Durant. There are a lot of guys named Kobe in that game on Thursday night. 3 dudes named Kobe, all spelled differently as well. Kobe is like the Jalen, where we can pinpoint when the name got popular and why and who. Same thing with Shaq. There's a bunch of kids named Shaq, and we know why. We know the inspiration, all that stuff. But my segue, my one big thing is that I think you could take the maybe away from it. I think the Seahawks are going to go to the Super Bowl. It's a combination from watching the tape, watching it live, talking to the guys, watching football all weekend. That's all I did, Saturday and Sunday and Monday. I watched other playoff teams. I spent a lot of time, I was like looking at Pro Bowl stuff, trying to pre-write a story this weekend. So I actually did a lot of deep diving on other teams' analytics. I looked at some film with some other teams and other guys. Folks, I feel very good about the Seahawks going to the bowl. Like barring like a bunch of like bad injuries or whatever, like a healthy Seahawks should go to the bowl. I believe that. I'm with Chris there that what you're speaking to is Sam's resiliency, and I think that's good because at this point he's gonna mess up. He's not just gonna throw for 300 yards and no picks, no nothing, no fumbles against like a good team. It's just what he leads league in turnovers. He's second in turnover rate behind JJ McCarthy. It just kind of is what it is. The reason I feel like they can overcome that, one, they've been doing it for the most part. Like he leads league in turnovers. Their offense is still like top 10 in points and stuff. The Seahawks are the Seahawks and Rams are the two most complete teams in the NFL. Not the NFC or the NFL. Like I really, you go look at the Jags. The Jags are probably the best team in the AFC. And then I would go Patriots, and then after that, it doesn't really matter. I think the Broncos are in a weird spot. Their defense is like not good all of a sudden. It's very, very strange. It's not even just that Jaguars game either. Like go back and look at their numbers the last few weeks. Look at the tape the last few weeks, giving up a bunch of big plays. So I want to start with why I think the defense can get there. Healthy defense. Let's assume Kobe plays. Let's say he missed this week. Let's assume Kobe plays against the Niners. Kobe Bryant, not any of the other Kobe's. I really think the Seahawks have hit this golden spot where they don't have anyone who can be picked on. You know, we've seen the Seahawks have good players and blue chip players or just high-end players at certain spots, but then there's this other spot or position group where it's like, well, they just put the ball over there. This guy can't set the edge. This guy can't tackle. This guy can't cover this route. The Seahawks, when healthy, do not have that. They don't. They really don't. You can't just like, I brought up Kobe Durant on the Rams. Like, you need at least like three corners at this point. Otherwise, you can get picked on. They picked on this Kobe Durant kid. Christian Emmanuel Forbes, right? Good player. He's the one who had the PBU on Jax in the first quarter or something like that. He had the PBU on the Shaheed deep ball down in LA. He's been pretty decent corner, right? His team lost, gave up 30 points. The other team was able to move the ball through the air, and Forbes didn't give up a catch. Well, how's that happen? Because they didn't need to throw at him. They could throw somewhere else. They could throw at Darius Williams, their other corner. They could throw at Kobe Durant, their other corner. I don't think the Seahawks have that in a way that's going to be fatal. I know people probably listen like, well, Mike, they're just going to throw at Josh Jobe. I think you guys should watch. I know. You guys should watch more than just the Seahawks. You want to see what getting picked on looks like? Look at some other teams. Go watch the Broncos. Watch them throw at Riley Moss, number 21. Go watch teams throw at J.C. Horn of the Panthers sometimes. His bad plays are awful. The Bucks have that issue as well. I forget who their good corner is, number 27. Their good corner is number 35, Jamel Dean, who also gave up a big ball in a game they needed to Tetairoa McMillan. But then their good corner, I think, is number 27, McCollum, I think. You can just bomb on him. Like, there's all these teams that, like, you may have one good guy, but then you can still bomb on them. Like, or not even bomb. You can just go move the ball down the field on some of the other guys. The Niners have that as well. The Niners also don't have a pass rush, which is a problem. I think that's going to come back to bite them in the playoffs at some point. I really think this is the Rams and the Seahawks conference. I do. I think the Eagles have a bunch of problems, starting with the fact that they can't generate explosive runs like they lived on last year, and they have a quarterback problem, I think. So, yeah, I think that every team has flaws in the NFC. We can go through. Let me look at the standings real quick. Standings right now are in order: Seahawks, Bears, Eagles, Panthers, Niners, Rams, Packers. The Packers have some. They have a quarterback injury problem currently, running back injury problem. They're gonna have a pass rush problem in the playoffs, I think, without Micah. But like healthy, the Seahawks problem is the least fatal of all the other teams' problems, and that includes. Stay on the defense real quick before I go to the next phases. But like their defense is just looking at the numbers, look at some film with some other teams. Chris, they have playmakers on this team. I know I mentioned a few pods ago that I didn't want to get too caught up on splash plays. But just in terms of impact plays, the Seahawks are everywhere. Like they should have more Pro Bowlers than they have currently. Like you got like Murph, playmaker. Leo, playmaker. Nicky Minwari, playmaker. Spoon, playmaker. Kobe, playmaker. Now I got Jay Love back, playmaker. They hasn't had a ton of chances recently, but playmaker. Reek quietly is playing as well as any corner in the league right now. Reek is locking it up. Reek, I think, Chris, they should also stop the platooning thing with Josh and Reek. I think they should just play Spoon and Reek, and then Nick in the middle. Reek's earned that. Reek's trapping. I know I said Josh is not getting picked on to the level of some of these other guys, and he's not. But that doesn't mean you keep platooning them. Like they just really don't have a spot. Like the Rams got to play once the guys got hurt on like I think it was Drake Thomas was matched up against Ferguson. I think the tight end. That's because they couldn't go dime because our DBs got hurt. Otherwise, you don't see plays like that because they don't have a weak spot where you can just, oh, yep, here's our matchup. You really don't have that. I have to say these guys will never give up catches. But I think something that really illustrates my point is look at some of the catches that Spoon has, quote unquote, given up. These are some of the best catches you'll see in the league. Like, remember what Marvin Harrison Jr. was doing in week 4? Go look at Marv the rest of the year. Those are the best catches Marv's made. That Puka catch over Spoon, the best catch of the night. Like, that's what it takes for people to get big plays on Spoon. I'd say it can't happen, but it requires a level of excellence that's just it's tough to replicate. You know, even against the Bears, I think the Seahawks strap up the entire Bears pass game for sure. Their best bet is trying to get like Colson Loveland on Eamon Warrior or something like that, which is doable, as we saw with the Kyle Pitts catch in Atlanta. But I don't think that's like fatal. Like, you can get a big play here and there. I just don't think it's fatal. I really think the Seahawks don't have a fatal flaw, whereas everyone else but the Rams does. I think I don't have to go through every team, but then, and where the Rams and Seahawks separate the two, like themselves, I think, from one another, special teams. Seahawks are an elite special teams unit. Cover well. Their kick game is strong. That's Michael Dixon and J-My. Their return game is strong. I think the Niners have this going for themselves as well. But like that third phase is going to be huge. Huge. And you can see how it's been huge. Shaheed is basically, we talked about this on the post-game show, and watching the game back really just reinforced what Chris and I were talking about. Shaheed won the game. I firmly believe they lose that game without that punt return. And now we can say, well, Mike, Chris, they can't just return punts every time they're in a rut. Maybe they can, because Shaheed's that good. I think he's the only guy this year with a punt return and a kick return. I'm pretty sure. I put it in the story already, so hopefully that's accurate. Like, he's just an electrifying dude, you know? He has explosive. He can make explosives as a punt returner, kick returner, running back now, or a receiver. That's just a different ball game, you know? So I think their special teams puts them over the edge. And I think as much as Chris and I are very critical of the run game, and I don't think it was even that good against the Rams, I think that the Seahawks offense is just somehow just so damn functional, just getting the ball to Jax that they'll be okay. They really, it's strange because I usually would not feel that good. But then I go look at some of these other teams, you know, and I look at, because that's really what it is. If you just look at the team you root for or whatever, just maybe the team in your division, you can kind of not see the bigger picture. After studying a lot of these teams and then watching the Seahawks against the best team, the other best team in the conference, the only other team I consider a Super Bowl threat is the Rams. It's like, Chris, if these guys got to run it back with the Rams in the divisional round and NFC title game, I like the Seahawks. I do. I like them. Their offense, they can get, they're not as explosive as I would like, but again, they got the best player on the field on any given night, which is Jax. Maybe it'll be Puka one night, who knows? But I just feel really good about what they have. I think that especially if they get home field, which I think they will, I think they'll score enough points at home to get all the way to the dance. I think that. Oh, Chris, you know they're above 500 at home now. I'm pretty sure they are.
They've been winning a lot at home.
Yeah, because I think that's an important part of this too. Because before it was like, well, they're better on the road, so it's like maybe it is better if they just get the 5 seed or whatever. No, they've just become a great team, and a great team can win anywhere. But you just rather would do it at the crib. So go ahead, book your tickets, y'all. Just pray for good health with Charles and Kobe. This is all contingent on those guys coming back at some point. Preferably for week 18, because I think they should smoke the Panthers without those guys. But yeah, because I think we're looking at the 1A and 1B, the Rams and Seahawks are. And if the tiebreakers, which team gets to play one fewer game, which is huge, I think, for health purposes, and just, you know, it's just hard to win 3 games on the road. You only got to win 2 at home. Like, I give that nod to the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are going to go to the Super Bowl. I think their offense is good enough. I think their defense is elite. I think they have the best defense in the NFC. I think that their special teams are elite. I think they have the best special teams in the NFC, them and the Niners. We are looking at a team that, for the first time in over a decade, I feel like should expect to get all the way to playing in February. They're well coached. We don't see a bunch of stupid penalties. They got to fix some procedural stuff. They got a few false starts in this game by multiple guys actually as well. Gray, I think Bradford might have false started too. But in general, they're not like last year's team, which I was asking Grubb about penalties. I felt like every week he was like, yeah, Mike McDonald asking him about penalties. I don't see that with this team. Well-coached team, fairly disciplined team. Defense tackles well. They cover well. They stop the run. I don't know how I didn't mention that. They got playmakers at all three levels. Special teams is good. Yeah, guys. If you're excited about the Seahawks, get doubly excited. Take it from Mike and Chris. You got the best. You got a team that should be a contender. You really. That's my one big thing. I think watching the tape, watching ball all weekend, looking at numbers, looking at film of multiple teams, the Seahawks are like that, and they should be playing. Who should they play in the Super Bowl, Chris? We can make official predictions later, but you said Houston. You like Houston?
Probably the Texans or somehow the Buffalo Bills. Maybe Josh Allen just goes bonkers and is able to drag the offense to the Super Bowl, and then they probably get beat down pretty bad because they can't defend. And I think Josh Allen would just run out of juice, man. The Seahawks defense is really good, and they don't have a number one receiver, so that's tough.
Yeah, the Seahawks, they can put the straps on pretty much anybody when they really die. I mean, they did it to the I think that Chris, you watched the tape too. That fourth quarter sequence there where the Rams just couldn't get a first down was like really impressive for the defense to do. It helped that Colby Parkinson was a double agent. He just decided to not catch the ball on Thursday. that was terrible. But they were just strapping up too, because they can do that. The Seahawks just have this gear they can hit on defense where they're like, all right, lock in, boom. They got by a no-look 20-yard pass in overtime, which was crazy. But you can just see like they can just flip this gear where it's like, all right, let's lock in. No, nothing. They get nothing. And again, they needed to do it in overtime, but I think in the playoffs they can hit that. And again, looking at who they'd have to play, that's even if they play Philly, that's you play the Packers, whoever play the Bears, I think they will just strap up. I think they can strap up. I really do. This is the best covering team. This is the most well-rounded covering team, the Seahawks. Better than Legion of Boom, because I think they had an obvious weak spot at the number 2 corner. And then Cam had this random weakness against tight ends. But this team, I don't think, has that. Like, they can strap up against whoever. Like, man-to-man, confuse the other team. Pass rush is crazy. Yeah, Chris. Get these tickets to Santa Clara, man. I think these guys got this.
Well, there you have it. We haven't done hot take of the day, but I think that's hot take of the day worthy right there. If you guys remember back after every game, Mike would end the show with a hot take of the day. And we haven't done that, but I think Mike just did it just now on one big thing. So, yeah, the Seahawks team is looking really good. Defensively, especially offensively, Sam getting over the hump, I think, can take the offense to another level. But Mike did mention that the Seahawks were taking on the Carolina Panthers, who he thinks they should beat down pretty bad. And to help discuss that is Joe Person, who covers the Panthers for The Athletic. We'll get into if Bryce Young is good. Is that team good? Because right now they're at a minus 30-point differential, but they're 8-7 and leading the NFC South. So that's strange as it is. What about the rookie, Tetairoa McMillan? How does he match up against the Seahawks defense? Is he living up to the hype this season? So we'll get into all of that with Joe Person, who covers the Carolina Panthers, next.
All right, now joining us on the Seahawks Man to Man podcast to preview Seahawks Panthers in Week 17 at the home who covers the Panthers for The Athletic, Joe Person. Joe, what up, man?
What's happening, guys? Appreciate you having me on.
All right, man, you're driving safely, right? We're not going to be okay?
I was going to ask you if you guys carry insurance on this pod because I'm going to get to I got to make a couple last-minute stops on my way to practice holiday-wise. I'm going to get to a parking lot real quick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't want no issues, man. We do not. The Seahawks Man to Man podcast does not have insurance in 2025. So yeah, we cannot. We no payouts over here. But Joe, let's get into this matchup here. I was doing some research on the Panthers, and this hopefully this question doesn't feel insulting to what you've watched. But like I'm looking at like points per drive, EPA per play. They're like 20th in everything, 20th on defense, 24th on offense, 18th in special teams, point differentials minus 50. I mean, Joe, are the Panthers good?
welcome to the NFC South, man. This is we've covered a lot of those of us who've covered this division. We've seen this a lot, with a few exceptions. Obviously, the Bucks with Tom Brady, got hot there and had some dominant years. But there have been a lot of years, like 2022, which was just a mess of a year for the Panthers. They fire Matt Rule after 5 games. Steve Wilkes comes in, does a pretty damn admirable job righting the ship. But point is, they went to Tampa, guys, in week 17 with a 6-9 record, and they were 1 game out of first. Like, had they won that game, they would have been playing for the division, the next week. So anyway, this year kind of feels the same. The Panthers are better. They are an improved football team. Bryce Young is better. The defense is a lot better. They were historically bad last year, but they're still not great. So I don't know, long-winded answer to your question, but that's kind of where they are. And by the way, the Bucks are worse. And so I do, barring what happens this week, if the Panthers can stay healthy, I kind of think they're going to beat the Bucks in week 18.
Yeah, that 2022 season you speak of, as bad as the South was, it's sorry to remind Seahawks fans because things are going well. The Seahawks lost to every team in the South that year. They went down to New Orleans, and Taysom Hill looked like Randall Cunningham mixed with Michael Vick. They went to Germany and lost to the Bucks. The Panthers came up here, led by Sam Darnold, and got that W without DJ Moore making a catch. And then Marcus Mariota and the Falcons came over here in week 3, I believe, and won.
Sorry about that.
Still got you, Joe? Oh, here we go.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, so that 2022 season, as bad as that was, as a division, they swept the Seahawks. And yeah, just to clarify some of those numbers I mentioned, the Panthers are 26th in points per drive, 23rd in opponent points per drive, 23rd in EPA per play on offense, 24th in EPA per play on defense, and have the 21st point differential in the NFL. So yeah, a lot of just not good. So we'll see how Sunday goes. Well, you mentioned Bryce. I don't think, Chris, we've asked this question on the pod. Yeah, we wouldn't have in 2022. So here we go. I'm curious your answer, Joe. Is Bryce Young good?
He is. I do think he is. And I think we can differentiate between good and elite when it comes to quarterbacks. And maybe he plays his way into that top tier quarterback level. He's not there yet, but he's looking more and more like the guy they thought they were drafting. These last 5 games, he's been on the best heater of his career. Started in Atlanta, where he threw for 448. Week 11 broke Cam Newton's franchise single-game record. And it's really kind of gone from there. I mean, he's making good decisions. He's never going to blow you away with his arm talent. Like, he doesn't have a big arm, but he's got pretty good accuracy. And you're right. I mean, if you look at the numbers, kind of like the team, he's in the 20s. He's been hot and cold, but he's playing better of late. And he's got this team in position. They kind of, by the way, they earmarked next year as the year they thought they would contend. So they're kind of getting here a little ahead of schedule. And as I said, in large part because the rest of the division stinks. But yeah, Bryce, real quick, a personnel guy told me earlier this year, he said, in his mind, Bryce is the kind of quarterback you can win with. You don't necessarily win because of. I might circle back with that guy because I wonder if the last 5 games might change his mind because he's looked a lot better.
When you look at this team, the Panthers beat the Rams in Week 13, 31-28. So my question to you is, what worked well for them to come out with the victory against a team that's arguably one of the best in the NFC?
They were very balanced offensively. They ran the ball well. Bryce threw it well. They had some long drives. I mean, they weren't just playing keep away, but they did have a couple long drives where they held it. And then they took the ball away. I mean, 2 interceptions of Stafford and then a strip sack to end the game. And nobody's really done that against him all year. This team's got some corners now. Like, and J.C. Horn just named to a second straight Pro Bowl. and then former Seahawk Mike Jackson. He's been a good find for them. Like, these are two big physical guys. Both of them are 6'1", 200 plus, and so they, like any corner, they're going to get beat, but they did a nice job last week on Mike Evans. My recollection is, driving, so don't have it in front of me, I don't think Puka had like a huge game against them. And so, yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but the corners give that secondary a chance.
Are you thinking that what they did against the Rams could be repeated against a team like the Seahawks, who have a great receiver in JSN? The defense has been playing a lot better, but if you get to Sam Darnold, he's going to probably turn the football over.
That would be their recipe. I mean, every team preaches it, of course, but they want to try to turn Sam over. That the pass rush here has been pretty mediocre. Derek Brown's up to 5 sacks. That's the team lead. From an interior lineman. That they have not in 2 years under Canales, they have not had that difference-making edge guy. They brought in Clowney last year kind of as a one-year mercenary stopgap, and he was okay. They drafted a couple young guys high this year, or second day. Nick Scorton in the second round, Princely McMillan in the third round. Scorton has shown more than Princely. I think Scorton's up to like 3.5 sacks, maybe 4. So again, how are they going to get pressure on Sam? They're probably going to have to bring some packages and some blitz, and rely on those corners who I mentioned to man up in the secondary.
Let's see. Puka in that game against the Panthers had 6 catches for 72 yards. Devontae had 4 catches for 58 yards and a couple red zone touchdowns, because that's what he does. So yeah, a decent day for the corners. Let's talk about them. I like Mike Jack. I was glad he got an opportunity to play. He's a tough corner. Not super fast, but like he told me a long time ago, he's like, I want to play, so I'll do whatever it takes. Like, if that means tackle, I'll be the best tackling corner I gotta be. And he's a real physical guy. I might throw some numbers out here, because I was like, how's Mike Jack doing? Mike's actually 7th in passer rating allowed, or 17th, excuse me, which is really good. 8 PBUs, 3 picks, including he got Stafford in that matchup. JC 21st in passer rating allowed. For Seahawks fans, he's 1 spot ahead of Josh Jobe. So put that in perspective as how well he's playing. 5 picks for JC, just made the Pro Bowl, as Joe mentioned. Although, interesting numbers here, they're combined allowed 9 touchdowns, 5 for JC, 4 for Mike Jack. So, Joe, what are we looking at? Guys who are generally pretty good on a per snap basis, but it can give a big play here or there?
I think that's a good way to put it. And big plays both directions. Like in the Monday night loss to San Francisco, again, they didn't play particularly well, but J.C. Horn played very good with 2 picks on Purdy, and then he left the game in the second half with a concussion. And that Rams game, that pick you mentioned for Mike Jack was a pick 6. So they've had their share of big plays, but they've given up some too, as you said. But yeah, there's safeties here, guys. And you guys, well, he's a West Coast guy, but not AFC West. The signing they made, free agency, Trayvon Merrick, has been really good. And he's not a ball hawk, but he's like that strong safety playing the box guy, and he will come downhill and hit you with an attitude. He's brought kind of a little edge to this defense. Horn already had it, but the rest of the D kind of need another guy like that. And so, yeah, the secondary, we coming into the season, I think a lot of us thought the safeties were going to be we'll see what they got in Merrick. And but he's been really good. And like I say, really, their off-ball linebackers are just kind of okay. I really like their interior D lineman. Derek Brown is as good a D tackle as you'll find in this league. I kind of thought he got screwed in Pro Bowl. But the edge guys that you'll see, I mean, what you put on tape, it's just not getting a lot of production from that edge in Ejiro Avero's 3-4 scheme.
Yeah, so you have, like you mentioned, the Panthers are kind of benefiting from not playing in a great division, but I mean they do got wins like the Rams. They went to that was to Green Bay, and beat them. How are they 8-7 right now? Beyond playing just in the NFC South, are there just other things that you've seen like this team? This is why this team is feisty.
Yeah, no, that's what we've all tried to kind of put our finger on all season, and it's just really the best answer I've heard, either in the locker room or from Canales, is that they are still growing this thing. Like they have some pretty obvious holes on both sides of the ball, and so it's a team that's not used to winning, right? So, I mean, you go back now for 2 months, and they have this cycle of win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, and so it's just a mark of a young team that's on the come up, but not there yet. That's my best way of describing, because you're right. Like, they've lost to the Saints twice. If they win one of those Saints games, they've already wrapped up this division. But they went down there. They lost at home, mid-season-ish, and then went down there 2 weeks ago. And incidentally, and you didn't ask me this, but Tyler Shuck, dude, that guy's legit. I think he's going to be really good. And they didn't have a real answer for him either time. He hurt him with his arm up here in Charlotte, and then he made some big time plays with his legs down in New Orleans. So anyway, and also too at the trade deadline, this team stood pat because they, like I said earlier, they thought they were a year away from truly being contenders, not like sneaking in, with a 9-8 record, and so they didn't really want to give up too much at the deadline, and in terms of draft capital, and so here we are, a team just still kind of trying to see what it feels like. They haven't been to the playoffs in 2017. Like, this is a long drought.
Ooh, damn! Wow, that's a long time.
Well,
Jesus.
I think offensively they might have a weapon that can unlock the playoffs, and that's Tetairoa McMillan. The Panthers took him with the 8th overall pick, and my question is simple: with a guy that's leading all rookie wide receivers in reception yards, and touchdowns, from what you've seen, is he living up to the hype, or is there things that the Panthers are saying, we haven't unlocked that with him quite yet?
He's pretty, for the most part, he has lived up to it. There were concerns about kind of his toughness and physicality and ability to get off the, press coverage at the line, because he hadn't done much of that in college. And that Steve Smith here locally famously kind of ripped him when they picked him, or right before the draft, for that reason. But he's actually come a long ways in that regard. And, he's got terrific hands. Sometimes he gets a little just lackadaisical, and he'll have like a drop. You're like, wait, how'd you drop that? And we just saw you make this spectacular catch, on a 50-50 ball. But somebody, trying to remember who said this, but in one of the stories I wrote about McMillan about a month ago, someone said he's a big guy, but he moves like a smaller guy. That he's not just some big lumbering 6'4" dude. Because they've had some big receivers like that whose careers started out. Kelvin Benjamin, was another first round pick for the Panthers, wasn't top 10. Florida State receiver, big guy, and he was not like McMillan. Like he ended up kind of eating his way out of the league. But even when Benjamin was in his best shape, he did not move like Tetairoa McMillan. So yeah, I think they're onto something here with McMillan. Now, unfortunately, the guy they took in the first round the year before, Xavier Legette, granted 32nd pick, they traded up to grab him, trade up with Buffalo. He doesn't look like he just, I don't know. He'll have a good game here or there, but he hadn't really figured it out yet.
Going up against the Seahawks, how do you like that matchup for Ted? Is that something you see him taking the challenge and having a solid day, or could he meet his match with one of the best defenses in the league with some top corners who are physical and they won't be afraid of him?
That's going to be a challenge because, like I say, he is better against press and physicality, but he's not there yet. And I don't know. He had I think he had been playing a little banged up. He finally sat out last week one day with a foot and ankle thing. But there is a 3-game stretch where he only had 5 catches combined. And a couple of them were touchdowns, so that helped. But he really just talking with Ted Wynn, actually, our film guy with The Athletic. He said, he doesn't look real explosive. And so I asked around, and he was playing, as I said, a little banged up. But then last week he comes out in a game they had to have against Tampa Bay and catches 6 balls, 73 yards, beats Jamel Dean on a go route for a touchdown right before halftime. And so I don't know that this will be a good litmus test for him and this offense against, as you said, just a terrific defense.
I know Seahawks fans get upset about sometimes Richard Sherman's Niner fandom, because he played for both teams but won a bowl here. I think you guys should be grateful, and if you need a juxtaposition, go listen to how Steve Smith talked about Tetairoa McMillan. You would talk about a former player not having a current player's best interest, boy, in that analysis. He was frying that kid before the draft and after. So, I think be grateful that Sherm wears his Seahawk gear when he does, because it could be worse in terms of former player commentary there. And I think that touchdown that you mentioned that McMillan had against Jamel Dean, if I'm not mistaken, might have been the first one he gave up all year, or the second. So yeah, I mean, Jamel, his numbers are really great. When I looked up cornerback numbers all year as well, so he's not been giving up much. So for McMillan to get that is really impressive there. One last thing on Merrick. Can you give us a little bit more details on how they're using him? And I asked that because, you look at the numbers, he's not ball hawking, but a stat that I bring up sometimes on the show is a splash plays by True Media. PFF also has one called stops, which is basically the same thing, basically negative plays for the defense. Among safeties, Merrick's second. 20 stops. Again, for a Seahawks point of reference, Nicky Moore is at 18. So what is this guy doing to make this impact on the defense?
They've been successful using him in a lot of run blitzes, and he's got a real knack for kind of knifing in and just kind of finding that space, finding that lane to get in there and cause havoc in the backfield. And he's just a good tackler. Like, you don't see him miss many tackles, and he is a hard hitter. He's a clean hitter, other than when he hit Juwan Jennings below the belt in the Monday night game. But then we find out later, according to the Cleveland Browns, because that night in San Francisco, Merrick's saying, yeah, you should have heard what this guy was saying. I said, well, what was he saying? He's like, I'm not going to go there. Well, the Browns defensive lineman did go there and said, yeah, now I know why Jennings got hit in the nuts. But anyway, back on Merrick, he hits hard and he's unapologetic about it. I remember they had a joint practice with the Texans down in Houston, and he hit one of their receivers kind of in the live drill, where it's like, are you really supposed to be hitting? And it wasn't dirty. He just kind of laid this guy out. And afterwards, sitting there under a tent in Houston on a 95-degree day, I remember asking him about it, and he was like, yeah, look, that's what I get paid to do. I like his attitude. As I said, I think he's been really good for this defense. A guy that, didn't get a ton of acclaim in Vegas, not getting really a ton of it here, but he's made this defense a lot better.
Juwan Jennings is Chris's boy. We call him Juwan Jennings on the pod, and Seahawk fans know very well how good he is at pissing people off. Like Seahawks hate this guy. They've hated this guy for years. They openly talk. They're like, they usually don't say him by name. He's got like a Lord Voldemort kind of vibe over here. It's like, yeah, man, 15 talks too much. I don't like 15. 15 thinks he's all that. That's how I know. I know his number as well as any jersey number in the league because all Seahawks players like, yeah, man, we don't rock with 15. So yeah, guys hitting him in the nuts. Guys wanting to punch him. That's just him and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Juwan Jennings probably piss people off better than any two players in the NFL. And yeah, the defensive lineman you mentioned that called him out on the Browns, former Seahawks Shelby Harris, who has never bit his tongue. So yeah, if Shelby calls you out on the record, that means he hates your ass. that's for sure. So yeah, and I think that your boy Juan Chris, you see that he faked giving a fan a ball Monday night. Yeah. He's an asshole.
just an asshole.
He is. Yeah. When someone punches him in the goods, I'm like, yeah, man, you probably warranted that. But before we get you out of here, Joe, how you make a prediction? Chris, we got over under for him as well before we get out of here.
Go ahead and do the prediction, and then I will give him the over under.
All right, who you got in this game, Joe? Who give us a score?
Well, like I said, given this Panthers history of win-loss, they won last week, so that means if they hold true, they're going to lose this week. And yeah, I mean, I made the mistake of when this game did not get flexed, I just sort of like knee-jerk tweet something about, oh, that'll be like a 10 a.m. game for the Seahawks. That should help the Panthers. And about 50 Seahawks fans tweeted at me to let me know how good Seattle has been coming east and playing these 1 o'clock games. So that advantage is out the window, evidently. I don't know. I think Seattle has both these teams have a ton to play for. I think that's great. I think Seattle's better. I think they win by a touchdown.
All right. And I'll go back to Tet McMillan, and we'll do yards for this big fella. We'll go 61.5 receiving yards. Will you take the over or the under?
I'm going to go over. I don't think he gets to 100, but I think he gets over 61 or 61.5.
All right, there we go. All right, if you want to get your family some late Christmas presents, go bet on the over because Joe told you to. And yeah, the Seahawks, I'm sure as many fans probably hit you up and said the Seahawks are 13-2 on the road under Mike McDonald. Their only losses are to the Rams this year in Week 11 on a missed field goal at the end after Sam threw 4 picks, and then they lost to the Lions on Monday Night Football in Week 4 of 2024. So yeah. On the road, they are good, though. I'm sure the fans reminded you of that. That's a funny. I could already see where that was going once you said you tweeted that. Seahawks fans, they are, they got that chip right there on their shoulder.
Good for them. Because like I said, I had not done any research. I was just like, oh, it'll be 10 o'clock in the morning for Seattle, and they're like, yeah, who cares?
Yeah, no, Pete Carroll cooked up a decent way to get around the time zone thing. He started having them leave on Fridays now. So they'll get out of there a day early. That way they'll land late Friday in Charlotte, wake up, practice at the stadium usually, or like a nearby high school or something, or a college, and have dinner and boom, be adjusted. So by Sunday morning, they'll be ready to roll. So I mean, we'll see how it goes though. Should be a good one, Joe. Appreciate you making some time. Looks like the car has stopped moving, so we're safety first over there. We appreciate it. Appreciate the time. We will see. Oh, happy holidays to you. Merry Christmas and all that. Yeah, this drop on Christmas Eve, and I will see you on Sunday.
Looking forward to it. Merry Christmas to you guys and to everyone watching and listening to this pod. Appreciate y'all having me on.
All right, man. We'll see you. Talk to you soon.
All righty.
Perfect. Thank you, Joe.
Absolutely, man. When you coming out, Mike?
I get there like 4 on Saturday.
You were talking about that Friday thing. My first time I ever went, I think it's the first time I'd ever been to Seattle. No, I'd been once before. But anyway, my first year on the beat, John Fox took them out on Friday, and they practiced at University of Washington. So, and there was access. So we were like, okay, we all flew out to Seattle on Friday. So we had a big, long weekend. That was great.
Yeah, we've had a few teams. Yeah, the who just did that this year? Chris, I feel like a team. The Saints. The Saints came out here on like Wednesday.
That's
Because they also wanted to practice outside as well. That was also part of their thought. It did not work. They lost by 30, but that was the that was the thought. At least I think the Falcons did that in 2022 as well. They were here all week because they had just played, I think, the Rams the week before. Stayed on the West Coast, stayed up at UW, and then they won. So it's depending on your flavor there. But yeah, it didn't help the Saints at all. They got their ass kicked. So yeah.
Well, hey, y'all have a great holiday, and thanks for accommodating me driving. I hope the audio wasn't too crappy.
Oh yeah, once we edited that, we're good. So thank you, Joe.
All right, y'all take care.
All right, thank you to Joe for joining us. This is great insight on a pretty like if you don't cover the Panthers or you don't watch them regularly, it's like a weird team. You look at their record, 8-7, got a chance to make the playoffs for the first time since Trump's first term, but then it's been a minute. And then you look and like you dive into it, it's like, oh, these guys aren't that good. So appreciate Joe for that. Yes, that's Joe's real name, Joe Person. It does sound like a fake name. It does. It's like if you're gonna make up a name, like, oh, it's that. It's not. So thank you. Appreciate him for the insight. There. Appreciate you guys tapping in. Seahawks Man to Man podcast. You know the drill. Blue Sky, Twitter, X, whatever Elon's doing over there, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all that. Like, comment, rate, subscribe, share, do all that. Hit those good buttons for us. We appreciate the love. A book update. Amazon is out of hard copies. So we are. It's a good problem to have. But I'm still trying to get people signed copies. But DM me. I'm working on a solution. Just we'll have to go a different route than I've previously been going. But appreciate you guys all who've been buying books. I will have books in Charlotte at the game. Yeah, you guys deserve a round of applause. Amazon.
You deserve a round of applause too for writing a great book and people supporting you. What the hell?
It's the people. The people deserve the credit. I could write the best book in the world, but no one knows if they don't read it.
Well, you're likable. I mean, that counts for something. You're not an asshole. If you was an asshole, then yeah. But Mike, your book might not sell, man. You're not nice to the people. But give yourself a round of applause and pat on the back. Don't be too. What's the word I'm looking for? Ah, man, it's escaping my mind. But you know the word I'm thinking of. Why don't you say it for me, Mike?
And I'm just being honest, I'm just appreciative. That's what I'm being. I'm being appreciative of the people. They've been buying books in abundance.
The people know what I'm saying. Okay, I'm looking dead into the camera. Y'all know what I'm saying, right? I'm not out here on a limb. Mike just being very humble, which is fair. Be humble, but also good book, Mike. Sheesh, man. You didn't go to ChatGPT and just put all the words in there and be like, hey, make a book.
I did not do that. I don't even know how to use ChatGPT. I feel like I'm the only person now who does not. I'm
with you on that. I don't use it either. But nonetheless, Mike.
Yeah, you guys can DM me. I still get you a book. Just be a little different method, but we'll make it happen. I want to make sure everybody gets signed books, no matter where you are in the world. So thank you so much. We'll catch you guys. We still got to do film this week as well. If you're listening to this the day it dropped, it's Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays from the Seahawks Man to Man podcast. We appreciate all the love and support this year. Let's keep it rolling through the playoffs to the end of 2025 and beyond. Thank you so much. Enjoy your week. Enjoy some time with the family. And we'll catch you guys later in the week. Peace.